audio guy's dilemma. 3 microphones. Which will I really use? I've got a lav, I got this thing, handheld. It's excellent. Hi. Oh, Jesus Christ. Really? Okay, well, if you're going to be that way, I'm going to be that way too. Oh, wow. I don't actually, okay, good, because I don't really use these. PowerPoint should require a license. I don't know why it doesn't. Here, people who use it, that's for you. Okay, say hi to the person next to you on both sides and introduce yourself right now, please. All right, that's enough, seriously. You've been sitting together for 10 minutes. Have you not done that? That's ridiculous. If you have a white badge on, you're selling something. If you have a blue badge on, you're buying something. And if you got a green badge on, you're creative and you're both buying and selling, mostly pitching. So that's the badge code. If you have not scheduled your one-on-one interviews for this afternoon, there are still some valuable spots left where you can meet people who you can do business with. So see your representative from iMedia. I'd also like to tell you, this does need to be read, doesn't it? Okay, we're proud, I've never read a script before, so hold on a second. We're proud to have NBC sponsoring the interview studio at this week's summit, and we'd like to invite everyone to stop by the studio at any point today to give a 10-second answer to one of our hot topic questions, including, what is the coolest use of video you've ever seen? Keep it to yourself. And what's the worst use of video you've ever seen? Mine's American Idol. I don't know what the best one is. Okay, that's the housekeeping. We'll try this all again. Hi. See how much better it is after you guys all hang out with each other and talk? That's excellent. I'm Shelly Palmer. Marty, thanks for the intro. Welcome to iMedia Summit, guys. Today, we are going to try and answer some of the burning questions of our time, which is why are we in business and how are we going to stay there? I'm going to talk for a couple seconds, then we're going to bring up a fabulous first speaker. In fact, we've got a lot of fabulous speakers here. And as I'm looking out here, I see a lot of my old friends, some of whom look much older than you used to, by the way. And because we've all been, this has been the year of video for the last 30 years. Some people I recognize for the last 30 years, it's still the year of video. And although in the middle there was the year of interactive TV and the year of mobile, but now it's the year of video again, so we'll see how that all goes. And there's some new friends, and welcome to the new friends. I would like to talk for just a few minutes about what we're going to do here and why. Video is a ridiculous catch-all phrase. Online video is even worse. It's like saying Latin America or content. It's just a word. It doesn't mean anything at all. And it's crazy because when you speak to people who are schooled in the art and you talk about online video, they assume you mean video that's online, which is not a bad assumption, except there's no such thing. There's broadcast television over the public internet. That's a television-like experience where they use a public network to distribute it. There's content made specifically for that distribution channel and everything in the middle, and yet everyone calls it online video. Now, my experience, creating value online is one of the easiest things you can do in the world. It is so easy to create something of immense value. IM is very valuable. No one's making any money. Skype's very valuable. The guys who invented Skype are doing well, but nobody else. Translating value into wealth online, that's really, really hard. Making a valuable video that gets millions of views, not that tough. Some people would argue that it is tough. I would argue that it's not that tough. Taking the value of that video and translating it into wealth, that's what this whole conference is about. How do we take our intellectual property and translate its value into wealth? Now, there may be no way to do this. This entire conference and every conference like it in all of our businesses may be absolutely doomed from the start. Because there's one immutable law of nature that seems to be standing between us and it. Broadcast, there's a temporal and a geographic scarcity created by the nature of broadcast. 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock and 30 seconds on the ABC television network on Thursday nights is a scarce resource by its definition. By 9 o'clock and 31 seconds, it's over. Only 30 seconds of it exists. It's an important night on broadcast television in the United States because Friday, everybody gets paid. So if you want to see somebody before they get their paycheck and before the weekend, Thursday night between 9 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 30 seconds on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox are great places to go look. You'll find tens of millions of people there. And they translate the value of that scarcity into wealth. A couple $300,000 for 30 seconds of airtime you want to buy. And everybody in this room on the broadcast side knows exactly how that goes. Now, in our world, scarcity and ubiquity can be also described in the most simple, Father Guido Sarducci, for those who know what that is, economic college of knowledge, supply and demand. Something that is in short supply or scarce is valuable, and something that is in great supply is less valuable, by definition. So let's apply that to video for a second. Something that runs from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock on a major network where there are tens of millions of people watching that will be gone is scarce. If I take the exact same piece of content and I put it online, I remove the temporal restrictions, I remove the geographic restrictions, anyone can have it anytime, anywhere they want, on any device, no matter where they are. It went from a scarce resource to a ubiquitous resource. What has to happen to the price? It's an immutable law of nature. You won't find anything in the human experience where something in great supply is more valuable than something that is scarce. Doesn't exist. Water? Water doesn't have a value. Unless you have the last bottle of water on earth, that's valuable. Want to see it work? Barrels of oil at $100 a barrel. They were $10 a barrel, we wouldn't be having a gas crisis. It doesn't exist outside of our experience. We haven't ever seen it bucked, and yet we're trying to take something very valuable that we create. We're trying to translate that value into wealth by taking it from a scarce environment to a ubiquitous environment. This means we need to create translation engines because the currencies of value are not just cash. Fame is a currency. Respect is a currency. Street cred is a currency. There are lots of online currencies that we can translate the value to, in which case the larger audience becomes valuable. But not everybody creates those translation engines, and not everyone is skilled at it. We're going to go over that in the next couple of days. We're also going to go over the fact that the industry is not interoperable in any way. And we're the architects of the industry, so we're idiots if we don't get that straight. User experience sucks. It's inconsistent, people don't know how to do it, and the people who do know how to do it don't constitute a large enough audience to matter. Had a young lady in a meeting with one of my brand clients this past week talking about how they were kicking ass doing these fantastic YouTube videos for clients. And some of their best producers were making $250,000 a month. I looked her straight in the eye and I said, that's the cost of one 30-second television commercial. If I need to move an FMCG good off the shelf, your guy, I need 100 of your guys, 200 of your guys, 300 of your guys. And by the way, don't take this the wrong way, there aren't 300 of your guys. I need one Grey's Anatomy and 300 of your guys, and you only have one of your guys. He's making some money, God bless. I hope he makes more, but the scale isn't there. Technologists made us a promise. We're going to talk about this promise over the next 2 days. 10 years ago, when real networks became video aware, technologists made us a promise. They said, one-to-many broadcasting is interesting. One person broadcasts, 1 million people watch, you get whatever effect you get. But because I'm a great technologist, 1 million people can watch 1 million different things. And I'm going to measure it accurately, and I'm going to target that advertising, and 1 million people watching 1 million different things that are customized to them will have a greater value than 1 million people watching one thing. So far, that's just not true. A, the technology doesn't exist, not yet, and B, it hasn't proven to be more valuable, even with all the waste. We're going to talk about that in the next couple of days. The last couple of things we're going to talk about is that the CE business, the consumer electronics business, is stacked up against us, and we've got to fix it. We, in this room, have to fix it. I was at CES this year. How many of you were at CES? Raise your hands. Okay, so some of you might have seen this. As you walk the floor at CES, we went to see the biggest companies, Samsung, Sony, LG, the venerable companies. And when you went to Sony, it was interesting because their video Walkman, which is Android-based, and their phones were on one side of the house, and then their televisions and video cameras are kind of on the other side of the house. The engineers that dealt with the traditional Sony, the guys who made the Sony Connect wire that was a FireWire 400 cable that they made a unique version of, so you had to buy their $30 cable when you bought their video camera, those guys. The guys who made the memory stick, because they didn't want to be industry standard with SD cards, so they make you buy Sony memory when you buy their stuff. Those guys were having a palpable confrontation with the guys who were trying to bring Android out, which is a much more open system that embraces the idea that consumers are in control. You could actually see the tension internally. You could see it at every company at CES, the old school engineers and the new school engineers. It was fascinating. Not good for us in this room. We've got to get everybody thinking the same way. And it doesn't matter what way they think, but interoperability and a better consumer experience would be better for us. So we're going to have to go there too. So that's sort of where we are today. We're going to have some phenomenal speakers who are going to sort of frame these questions in different ways. If we do our job right here at iMedia in the next 2 days, you're going to help make the answers possible. You're going to help architect the future. Because instead of this being lecture after lecture after lecture, what we're going to try and do, as best we can, is get each and every one of you involved. So I'm going to be walking around, and Catherine's going to be walking around, and we're going to have people walking around the audience with microphones. We're going to stuff them in your face, and we're going to get you to interact. If we're all going to be the architects of the future, then we all have to play. And if you're here, it means you are learned and scholarly. So you want to learn something while you're here, but you want to teach something while you're here. That's the important part of the iMedia experience, and I hope that all of you will participate. And with that, I will thank you and say that our first guest speaker and I met, at the last iMedia Digital Collective or CMO Collective, I forget which one of those there were, and we had a disagreement. I love this presentation, but during the Q&A, there were some questions and answers. And I had a different position than Brian had. And it worked out fine because everybody started to talk and it instigated a nice conversation. And Brian sent me the nicest note I have ever received from somebody who I tortured from the stage. Afterwards, he said, "Gee, Shelly, yeah, that was fun." And we actually have developed quite a nice dialogue after that. He is a brilliant, and I will say that without any qualification, a brilliant individual with a phenomenal job that you're going to wish you had. And he's going to tell you about some stuff that's just going to blow your mind. So without further ado, everybody always says that. I just made a lot of further ado, didn't I? There was like lots of do in this. Anyway, Brian David Johnson.